This following story was something that happened to my cousin. My cousin and I have always been very close, and we were particularly close at this time. We were living just off the road from each other. We were very close. And in 2010, she decided to get married. My cousin, we will call her Anne, married a guy who was in the army at the time, and his name was Brad. Now, Anne and Brad are not their real names. I'm choosing to change their names for protection of privacy, and you'll see why. So they got married, and it was completely out of the blue, and it happened really fast. Anne was only 21 at the time, and she had a little girl who was about 1 year old when she got married. Our kids were the same age, and there was only a 2-week difference in between. So I would often bring them over, or they would come to me, and the kids, they would all play together. As time went by, we all kind of got used to Brad. He was a very high-strung individual, and he just had that typical army feel to him. My boyfriend at the time and Brad started to become pretty good friends. So it went from letting the kids play every once in a while to an every weekend get together at our house or theirs. It was fun. We would grill, we would use the barbecue, we would hang out and let the kids play. But I started to notice little things about Brad and how he was treating Anne in front of us. It started small with him, just nitpicking over her. He was nitpicking a lot over absolutely nothing. It would go from that to him just snapping and blowing up for literally no good reason at all. All this kind of stuff continued, and it began to get worse and worse every time we would hang out with them. And then one day, Alan came over to our house, upset and crying. As it turned out, Brad had gotten very physical with her and hit her and pushed her off the porch in broad daylight for the entire world to see. She was all banged up from head to toe, and this was not the last time it happened. We begged her to leave him and get away before it got really, really bad. And then finally in 2012, she had enough of his abuse, and she left him. She didn't tell anyone where she was going, and not even us, because she was so afraid of her life being ended. And she was scared that he would find her if anybody knew. He tried his best to get to her and find where she was. He would stalk her kids at daycare. He would wait around by her parents' house to see if he could catch her over there. Just scary, scary behavior. One day, she agreed to meet him in the town, in a spot with lots of people around, so he could say his goodbyes to the child. He used the baby against her. He had actually adopted her during their marriage, so he used that as a ploy to get her to come around. They met that day, and as soon as she got out of the car with her baby, he ripped the kid out of her arms and took off with her. Gone. She was frantic, scared to death. She didn't know what his intentions were with the kid. She called us and the police, and the police could not do anything about it because of his name, and it was because he was legally the father and had equal rights to the child. This was a terrible situation, needless to say, and she had to play this by his rules just to get her baby back. He finally answered his phone, and he told her that the only way she would see the girl again was if she agreed to come back to him and put all of this in the past. She agreed, but not without her own plan in motion. She told him she was ready to come back with him, and he came to meet up with her, and the cops were waiting, because at this point her family had told the police that he was a threat to them all. And as soon as he pulled up and got out with the baby, they arrested him. This is where the story ends, basically, for my cousin and him. She immediately filed for order of protection, and she also filed for divorce and sole custody of the child. She hid out the entire time while this was all going on, and he finally, after a few weeks, gave up looking for her and started dating this other young girl named Brianna. She was only 19 and also had a 2 or 3-year-old baby girl too. The weird thing about this whole situation is it was like he was using this girl to literally take the place of Anne. They had so much in common, it was eerie. So they dated for a few weeks, when he then convinced her to come stay with him in another state. The next state over from us. He was working a construction job over there and claimed he wanted her and the baby to be with him while he was out of town. Now mind you, they hadn't barely even known each other at this point, and they were together for like 2 weeks, and from what I was told, he already asked her to marry him. Anyway, I'm not sure of all the details, but Anne called me up one day in August of 2012 and told me that the girl Brad was with was missing in the other state, where she knew not a soul but him and her child. Well, they ended up finding her body a while later in a field miles from where they were staying. He had killed her, set her body on fire, and threw her away in a field. The most disturbing fact of all this is that he had her little baby with him the entire time. I can't imagine what it must have been like for Brianna and her poor baby. They arrested Brad, and he was charged with capital murder and held on a very high bond. I can't believe that he would do this terrible thing to this young girl who had her entire life ahead of her and in front of her baby like that. So, needless to say, I hope we never ever meet again, Brad and I. I hope you pay for what you've done. This very well could have been Anne if she hadn't gotten away. And my thoughts were that he was so enraged with Anne, he took it out on this other girl. Thanks for reading.